Recording started. Hello, everyone. Back again. Just Noise. Thank you for tuning in. That's every Friday night, 8 p.m. Anchor FM, Google, and Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. Got the Juice Man, King Dre, Breezy, and we got a guest returning again, Miss Candy Lynn. Pull up the podcast. Don't forget to hit her up on Facebook as well. Pull up the podcast. So today, we're gonna jump right in this thing, and we're gonna talk about Brittney Griner and the madness that is March. So Brittney Griner's over in Russia. She is detained. Russia's in the middle of a nasty war, or better yet, a takeover of Ukraine. But it is a big story, and why this story isn't getting that much airplay or juice, no pun intended, is kind of baffling to me. So starting right away, I want to give Candy Lynn the opportunity to speak on this with all due respect. Brittney Griner in Russia. What's your thoughts?
Woo. So, being that Brittney Griner is a female athlete, the conversation that is now being started is why are American athletes having to go to Russia to play basketball? People do not realize this has gone on for years. Brittney Griner makes $221,000 in the United States versus
the league minimum, the NBA player.
Exactly. Versus the $1 million minimum that she makes in Russia. So in the process of going back into a country that was on the verge of starting a war, America knew that. She went back into Russia in February. So it's not like she was coming out. She was going back in to join her team because they're in the middle of playing basketball still over there. The American season doesn't start until May, around Memorial Day time. So these ladies are professional athletes. She's a 2-time Olympian. She has a national championship, and she's still having to go to Russia to be able to live her particular lifestyle and continue to grow in the sport for the opportunities in the season. So I think right now America keeps looking like America looks, which is pretty bad, that there's nothing we can do. We're not going to go and tap on Putin's door right now to frustrate him. She hasn't been allowed access to things at the U.S. Embassy that she's supposed to be allowed to have contact with. From my understanding, she's talked to her attorneys, her Russian attorneys, her agent here in America, and her wife. They're all working to try and get her home. But it just goes to show she's a female athlete in America. It's a story. It's just not that big of a story.
Well, if I can chime in, I'll say this: the one thing about the women's sports is the revenue, and I really believe that's part of the problem. The numbers aren't up to where you can actually pay these ladies, what they should be getting paid. And I actually saw a post. I saw a post a couple weeks ago. I almost responded, and I held back on responding. I saw a post. And basically what this person was saying in the post was, this is the same person who said you shouldn't stand for the national anthem. And now she wants America to come over and get her out of her situation. And I'm like, that's part of the problem too. We still have people that think like that. We still have people that give more respect to a flag than actual human life. Like, I'm just gonna be quiet, man. All I can say
agree.
It's a huge disservice.
I agree with you, right? So I saw that post as well. And let's remember, as Americans, right? So regardless of what we say, we are American. Those of us that were born in the United States of America, we are Americans. So to say that someone who's an American shouldn't have birthrights, right? Because when we're in the other country detained, we have a U.S. embassy, we have a consulate. We have representation on our behalf in those countries. So to say, because she made a statement, as you said, about a flag, that she shouldn't have her American rights to be represented and brought home safely, tells us a lot. And as far as the WNBA goes with pay, it's not that the money is not available, right? There's no way that Brittney Griner and LeBron James should be making the same amount of money.
Correct.
Don't misunderstand it, right? But $200,000, as you stated, is not even league minimum for players that's going to be in the G League or whatever it's called now in 6 months in the developmental league, right? And then in New York, they were just recently fined because they chartered a flight. They chartered private flights for their
That's
players
right.
because these players are having to literally fly commercial planes. Like they're on the plane next to you and I. They're sitting, and they're
Yeah.
not sitting in first class. They're sitting. You got 6'9" Brittney Griner, who's an American star, sitting in coach basically with her knees in the seat. So there's a lot of this, discrepancies that are taking place, and I think that it's putting the focus on the fact that women's sports, soccer just had an issue. If you don't
They
follow
did.
soccer, the
I
women's
saw
soccer
that.
team,
Yeah.
they just had the same conversation. Meanwhile, they were playing in the Olympics this summer. Where's the men's team? They don't even qualify. So you're having these conversations about equity, equality in women's sport. You want them to represent America, but Russia has been paying them this kind of money. Brittney Griner's teammate Diana Taurasi was given $1 million like in 2015 to sit out the American season, just to rest, to be taken care of. They treat them like stars over there. So it's a level of, I think we get greedy, right? Realistically, after a while, we start to get a little bit greedy when we make a certain amount of money. But I also have a question of why America didn't put a halt to getting contracts taken care of so that our American players could have been home, because they knew the war was starting.
Yeah.
They knew Putin's full intentions. And in my opinion, there should have never been any American athletes still in those countries playing sports.
I
This is the
agree,
risk
and
that we take.
I agree, and I hope this entire situation brings to full circle that we need to play the ladies of the WNBA a little bit better, so that way they don't have to be caught up in these type of situations for the simple fact. And I'm not just placing this all on the WNBA. Brittney has to take a little bit of accountability for this. Just because hash oil may be legal and get you through the gates of TSA in the USA, she has to know what are the ramifications of having that in a foreign substance, marijuana hash oil, in Russia. So I'm gonna place a little bit of that on her. But for the main part, I hope this brings full circle into light that we need to pay the ladies. And it's unfortunate. She's being detained because she can be charged with transportation of drugs and carries a sentence of 10 years. So, and then with a war going on, there's just no telling how long you're gonna be locked up. So, and the way it is in the world and this perception, I hate to get like King Dre and get a little bit political, but the way the world is this concept of people of color, and they could very well make an example out of it.
Right. See, here's the thing, though. Here's the one thing that I have to throw out there, and we have to be realistic about it. So in America, everything is based on those TV contracts and the viewership and how much money they're getting in, right?
That's correct.
So in America, the WNBA, the viewership isn't as great as it is in Russia. So in Russia, I would say we have better players over here. So when our players go over there, their ratings go up. Their ratings are going through the roof because, we got this person, we got this person. They're like larger than life. So they're able to pay. They're able to pay that money because we're getting this money in.
Now, does the WNBA have a players association?
They do have a players association, but let me tell you one thing about TV contracts. In the United States, they're extremely lucrative. And like the Sparks are owned by the Lakers. So this is not about it's about the fact that you can do it, right? It's not about the money not being available. It's simply we haven't been having this conversation about women in pay. This is a corporate America conversation. There's a disparity in what you four gentlemen and I would make doing the exact same job, and our qualifications laid next to each other. I could have better credentials. You are a male, you're still probably going to make more than me in corporate America. So this is a conversation that America is having to deal with because female athletes are for entertainment purposes. Brittney Griner has a Nike contract. She
That's
signed
correct.
with Nike. So there is money that's being made off of women's athletes, even in the United
Right.
States. I've been to a WNBA game. No, it doesn't look like going to see, the Lakers. Absolutely not. But there are enough people in the stands that these women could be making league minimum, especially a Brittney Griner. $500,000 for a Brittney Griner or Diana Taurasi. That's Breanna Stewart, the faces of the game that carry the game. Candace Parker, that's not asking for too much.
I agree.
And I agree with you, Greasy. Like Brittney Griner is like any other athlete, right? We talk about the professional athletes, males, and their bad decisions. Brittney Griner definitely made a bad decision. She made a poor judgment call.
There we
And
go.
in the words of my grandma, when in Rome, act like the Romans. And if and these are things that we have to teach our kids. It's great to go get the payday, but you really need to understand what the laws are over there, especially with her being a part of the LGBTQ. I can't even get the word letters out.
Hey, don't
Community.
feel bad. I'll be messing it up myself.
I can't, you need to be really cautious of your environment in the situations that you're putting yourself into. So everybody, I think, got a little bit of blame in this. But Brittney Griner ultimately has to take responsibility for self because no one else took anything through TSA. And they're saying it's hers, and that's all we can assume that allegedly, according to Russia, because their state media is the one who released her identity. They released what she was in possession of. And I have my thoughts on that, but I'm going to keep it politically correct. That's what I got for y'all on Brittney Griner.
Nothing wrong with that.
Just something I want to add. I mean, it's really unfortunate where, as far as women's sports are concerned, especially with the WNBA. I mean, I remember when it started. Like, I want to say it was like 1996. It was Lisa Leslie, Rebecca Lobo, and Cheryl Swoops. I mean, I think the NBA needs to somehow assist in helping the WNBA grow. Like, those girls work is just as hard. I mean, yeah, a man may be stronger and faster, but they're putting in work too. And I just feel like they're definitely being shortchanged. So I think that the NBA somehow needs to help them grow their sport more. I mean, I don't know how it can be done, but something needs to be done as far as that's concerned. And then with the whole thing with Russia, I mean, with everything going on, I don't even think it's proper for any athlete here in America to be sent there to play a sport. It's just it's dangerous, and Russia, we can't trust them. I mean, we see what they're doing. They're lying to their own people, and so I just think that we shouldn't be sending our athletes there in the first place. That's just what I think.
Good points. Good points all the way around. Good points all the way around. Good cop, bad cop. We do want to, keep sports and politics separate. Unfortunately, we cannot. They go hand in hand. Unfortunately, Miss Griner is in a sticky situation. I do believe that she is going to be an example of a pawn in this ugly situation. Prayers out to the people of Ukraine. Very dangerous narrative going out that what's going on in Ukraine doesn't affect African Americans. But I digress. If I'm asleep, don't wake me up. Y'all stay woke out there. But anyways, we're gonna keep it pushing. We're gonna keep it pushing to well, it's March Madness, to the March Madness bracket. It's March Madness time. Y'all heard me say plenty of times. This is my favorite time of the year. If I had to choose between tickets to the Super Bowl, Game 7 of the World Series, Game 7 of the NBA Finals, or the College Football National Championship, give me the Final Four. You get 2 games. No, you get 3 games instead of 1 game, and the college kids tend to play 3 times as hard as the professional athletes. So just looking at the brackets, anybody been checking out college basketball this year? What's your brackets looking like? How many people's brackets gonna get busted by 5 o'clock on Thursday? Because we know it's gonna happen.
Half the brackets will be broke. Hey, but
Hey, all I'm gonna say is, let's go Tigers. You know you're gonna be one and done. Oh my God.
Hey, but we root for him. Listen, this is the one time, cousin, that I'm willing to root for those Texas Southern Tigers.
Hey,
Listen,
Candy,
they handled business yesterday.
hey, we seen this story already.
I mean, I hate to divert a little bit, but Candy and everybody, I was talking to King yesterday, and I was like, the HBCUs need to get their own tournament. Period. I mean,
that would be dope.
We make some money. Who wouldn't want to go see that for bragging rights and everything else? We need our own. I'm just putting it out there because every time somebody from whoever wins the SWAC is going, they got to play number one seed.
They're gonna play Kansas. They're gonna play that number one seed.
That's not right. I mean, I get it because the number one seed has earned that, but we need our own at this point. We need our own.
But they knocked out Florida early in the season. Like, give them. That's my thing. Is we're as they're starting to play the big dogs, and we talk strength of schedule of who winds up in the play-in game. Like some of these mid majors, like I watched that Wyoming game yesterday.
Yeah.
I'm like, we watched Texas A. We saw what Texas Southern was able to do against Texas A&M Corpus Christi. We're not really having the same conversations at this point. Like, give credit where credit is due. We add these extra schools on our schedule. The schedule increases. We're still getting a play-in game and facing the number one. And I'm hoping. I think about when '98 when Prairie View was there and Kansas beat us first round. Paul Kansas. Yep. They played Kansas, Texas.
That's why I said we've seen this story before.
But I'm rooting for Kansas to lose in the next round. That's how I always hope it goes. Like, you want to beat up us on the first round, pretend like it's it's another play-in game for the number one seed. Go ahead. Use all your energy on us and get beat the next round. That's just where I feel. Like, start the destruction of the bracket with that number one seed.
I've been waiting on this one. I ain't gonna lie to y'all. Is somebody on here that's gonna be real happy when I say this, and I'm gonna be real.
You got Purdue
Texas. Y'all ready for this? Texas A&M got robbed. Hands down, they got
Alabama.
robbed.
Alabama shouldn't be in.
Listen, bro, I'm finna read this to y'all, man. They last 6 games, they played the number 25 team, beat them. They played Mississippi State. Or number 25 was Bama. Mississippi State beat them. They beat a good Florida team. They played the number 4 team in the country, beat them. They played the number 16 team in the country, Arkansas, beat them. They only loss was to Tennessee, the number 9 team in the country, in the Big 12 in the SEC championship game. Now y'all probably gonna be shocked when I say this. It's 2 teams that I'm about to pick on: Michigan and Notre Dame. Michigan's last 8 games, they went 4-4. They went 4-4, and they did knock off Purdue when they were number 3. They lost to Ohio State when they were 16. Basically, in all honesty, on Michigan's roster, the teams that they beat early, when they were ranked early, they end up losing to them later. So it's kind of like, and Notre Dame, they don't even have a rank. They don't have anybody ranked on their last 8 games.
But we talked about this in college football. It's the name.
It's terrible, bro.
It's the
Power
name.
5.
But listen, man, did you not hear what I said? 1, 2, 3. They played 4 top 25 programs, and they beat 3 of them.
I totally get it.
And they played all these teams back to back to back to back, and they finished the season 24-12, and they in the damn NIT. Make that make sense?
Don't.
It doesn't make sense.
That don't make sense.
makes
They
sense.
have a better record then.
That's called no respect, man. Just like in college football.
Honestly, I was like, I know A&M gonna get in. How do you not get in, bro? They beat a good Florida team. Auburn, number 4 in the country.
Yeah, they did
16
spank
Arkansas.
Auburn. They spanked. Yeah, they handled
No,
Auburn.
they didn't. No, they didn't spank Auburn. They spanked. They beat the hell out of Arkansas, and I think it was Alabama. They beat the hell out of Alabama. It was like 87 and 60 something.
But didn't mean you go over our brackets and some kind of way you had Purdue in the national title. I don't even know.
No.
I don't even know how that happened, bro.
I don't have Purdue winning. And one of my brackets, I do have, oddly, Tennessee winning.
I know in my brackets, I have Duke facing Arizona.
Not happening,
Duke
bro.
getting that win. Coach K going out with a bang. I don't care what y'all say. Politics are going to get Duke.
Duke is barely going to get out the second round, man.
73-67 Duke over the Wildcats.
They're going to barely get out of the second round.
No, but it's going to
They'll be lucky if Davidson don't beat them.
Listen, but there was a story. They were talking about that on ESPN today. How much pressure is on the back of these young Duke players? Because the Cinderella story, right, and the Cinderella story would be Coach K going out on top. Mm-hmm. What other way to write his story and to stamp it with this chapter of college basketball from 1980 to 2022, pandemic years, he goes out with a bang. I guarantee you there's going, if it gets close, Duke comes out on top. I agree with you.
Did y'all watch that Virginia Tech game? Did y'all
got destroyed? I agree with you, they got destroyed in the Tech game.
Did y'all watch that Virginia Tech game?
Yeah,
I saw the score.
Them boys got the light shot out of them.
They did, but
that's fine.
But the tournament is a different game.
Nothing else. They already.
If it's close in the NCAA, if it's close,
I agree with that one. They'll cheat for him.
If it's close in the NCAA tournament,
yeah,
and they got a chance to write this story, just watch the referees.
Duke,
exactly.
Mark my words. Duke will lose in the third round, guaranteed.
I got surprisingly, I got Michigan making a little noise.
They're gonna lose to Tennessee.
I got Michigan
they've had a lot of chaos.
They had a lot.
I will say the Cinderella team will be the Miami Hurricanes.
Miami's pretty nice.
They have a good path to get.
So the teams I've been keeping my eye on is
check the brackets.
Texas Tech,
great defense,
Michigan, and Tennessee. All you gotta do is win 6 games. It's a 6-game season.
I'm not convinced with Texas Tech.
Huh?
Exactly. We need because
Texas Tech play defense, bro.
They got a good defense. Texas Tech.
They do. They do, but they play around with people too long. I watched them in that Texas series. Like you got to go to work, and that's what we talk about when it comes to Coach K. You know, we look at Michigan with a young Juwan Howard as a coach. He had the suspension. Chaos, we know, creates turbulence for a team, right? When we look at Texas Tech,
Wolverines candy. Watch out. Now.
What'd you say? I like Michigan. I like Michigan.
You're absolutely right, though. They've been discombobulated, man. It's terrible.
and we all grew up watching that Fab Five. So like, who's not rooting for Juwan Howard? You can't not root for Michigan. You can't not root for Memphis at this point. Like, we want to see our childhood legends like emerge as the next coach. Yeah. They don't. But to see him here, right? It's the starting point for what he's trying to build there in Memphis. This is when your greatness comes about as a coach. You've got to be in the trenches to understand when to get your subs in, when to call a timeout. Like, all of these things matter. So we watch coaches grow here, and we watch these players grow and evolve. And like I said, I just don't know if Texas Tech, that team, I don't know if this team is like that previous team. I don't know if they got it.
But Tennessee,
I have them losing to Virginia Tech.
I got my eye on Tennessee too. I don't think Tennessee is going to surprise anybody. What they do well is they use their size to their advantage. I've been watching them a little bit this year. I know they got hot in the SEC tournament. They took advantage of Kentucky's inability to shoot the ball. Tennessee's a tough ball club. Tennessee is going to be a tough out. Auburn, I got them making some noise. I'm a big fan of Jabari Smith. I think he is the best player in the nation. So, and agree with Candy, I would like to see Memphis beat Gonzaga in the second round. It's the reason they put them right up under Gonzaga. I mean, it's kind of like.
I'm sorry, but
It ain't gonna happen, man.
But we were
Another team I like, and I think
Yeah,
they're
sure,
back,
yeah.
and that's Arkansas. I love the way the
Arkansas
Razorbacks
Bengals.
are looking.
Arkansas is tough.
Yeah.
Arkansas is tough. Arkansas is real tough. Saw them a couple times during the regular season. They gave Kentucky a loss down there in Fayetteville. That's another tough team. The SEC is loaded. It really is. It really is.
Well, I got a question. I'm gonna throw a little history out here to everybody. Besides Kentucky and the Nolan Richardson Razorback teams, how successful are SEC teams in the tournament?
Stop. Don't even ask that question.
Kentucky.
Kentucky.
Why you even asking that
Kentucky.
question?
Right.
Now I'm gonna roll to the Big 12 since we got these Texas Tech, we got little TC, we got the TCUs, we got Baylor did their thing, but I give Baylor the Elite Eight, but
That's who I'm going for. Baylor. They're coming off, winning it all the previous year.
Are all their players returning this season?
No,
not all of them.
Exactly.
Not all of them. But
This is
lost
the era
them.
of basketball.
they still have some guys on that team that were on that team.
I got them Elite Eight. That's as far as they going. They're going home this year.
Yeah, Baylor don't have. It's hard to repeat. We've seen it, right? Only the best teams that stay together. Yeah,
You got to be a UConn girls team to do that.
Well, they haven't. They ain't hot right now either.
Right, I'm saying, but the last team you can think about repeating like 5, 6, 7, 8 times is UConn girls.
Because the ladies aren't one and done. I mean,
no,
these
they
girls
have to stay all 4.
Yeah, so they're in there. Now back in the days, whenever you had the what was it? The old Dukes, the old North Carolina,
UCLA,
yeah.
Good point.
But
Good point.
It's the one thing about Memphis though is that they're inconsistent. They're very inconsistent.
They're very young too.
God, it's like when they're up, and when they down, they're down. It's terrible. It's like, oh my God, just get it together.
Isn't that base kid like 17, 18 or something like that?
Yeah, he can't go to the league.
He's not even on the team anymore.
Oh, he's not? Oh.
No. Bates is not on the team. Bates is not on the team anymore. He left the team. Something with his father saying that his back injury. Basically, his dad's involved, and from what I've last reports I read was Bates' father is involved, and he's looking out for the bigger paycheck, and he could care less what's going on with Petty Hardaway and Memphis. But to piggyback off Candy, I do want to see Juwan Howard and make a run and kind of have the Fab Five back at the Final Four. That'd be a good story too. I do want to see Penny Hardaway succeed.
Great story, buddy. I love that one.
Great. I would love that.
We still waiting on Chris. We still waiting on Chris Webber to stop acting up. Because they've
been working things out. Juwan Howard did. I mean, not Juwan Howard. Jalen Rose did an interview, and they were at a funeral, and that's when Jalen and Chris.
Juwan and
Chris started talking again.
Okay, but what about Jalen? Because Jalen is like.
That's what I'm talking about. Jalen Rose. So
Jalen and Juwan have talked to Chris now.
They talked at a funeral.
Okay.
And I think this year is going to be a great year for March Madness because I honestly don't see a Cinderella. Do y'all see a Cinderella? That team is like, man, who in the heck is? I don't see a team like that.
Well, that's the thing that makes March Madness March Madness. You never see it coming.
No. I don't mean that. I don't mean you don't see the Cinderellas. What I'm saying is, which one of these teams do you look at and be like, that could be a Cinderella team? Because we don't even know who the heck they are.
That's the point I'm making. Nobody saw Davidson and Steph and Curry coming when they beat.
They didn't.
Right. But Davidson on the map now. Davidson is on the map now.
Yeah, but they wasn't when they made that run. Was George Mason the year they made it to the Final Four? Nobody saw it coming. That's what made
got introduced to Shaka Smart.
Wichita State.
Right.
Wichita
State. What I'm saying is, which one of these teams do you look at and go, Cinderella. Only thing I can
That's
think.
But I
think
look
of
at them all
Richmond.
and say that. I look at them all.
yeah, that's
I
what
think
it is.
anytime we look at the tournament
You
and it's not Duke,
can't.
right? Duke run is dead. It's not Kentucky. Kentucky has been one and done's and inconsistency. It's not the old days of UCLA or when Michigan was running or UNLV. Everybody is a Cinderella story. Or when Michigan State arose, like came back from the dead, basically. We get to see these different teams make these runs at this time because the polls are always okay. Well, who's the number one now? Who's the number two
Right.
now? That's what we're looking at. We don't
I
know
think
who's going to show up to play.
I think the last repeat was Florida, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
Last repeat.
With
That was
Joakim Noah and them.
that was my boy
Yeah.
named Joakim Noah.
Joakim
Here's the
Noah. Yeah.
thing. Here's the thing about college ball. I watched a lot of college basketball last year. I was off during COVID. I was for coronavirus shutdown. I was still off, kind of sitting at the house chilling, and I tried to watch as much college basketball as I could. And I still had no idea who Oral Roberts was. And that's a Baptist college right up the street from me in Oklahoma. And I had no idea who Max Abmas was. He was the leading scorer in the nation. So it just goes to show that, it's tough. It's really, 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 really tough.
I think we're in for a good ride with this one. Because we have multiple teams, like real multiple teams that really have a shot to win it. I don't think Gonzaga is going to win.
Oh no,
I don't.
I don't think they have what it takes in the end. Like, I'm not going to even start on them. Like, I just feel like they're overhyped. They're always this
I said that a few shows ago.
Amount.
No, you said more than that, Juice.
So we agree. I don't think they have it. This is going to come down to maturity. This is going to come down to coaching when we talk about these 6 games that it takes to get us there, to get to New Orleans, to be able to dance. It takes a little bit more than the hype. And you've got to be tough enough when it counts. Can you?
So how many? No, go ahead, Candy. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, can you show up when you need that big bucket? Can you show up at the free throw line when your legs are on fire? Those are the players that we're looking for.
So how many people have looked at their bracket? Actually, let's get some Final Four. Way too early Final Four predictions. What you got? Who you got, Juice, in the Final Four? You take a look at your bracket. If you haven't looked at your bracket, spit it out.
Well, I've already said. I got Baylor winning the East, and then let's see, and then I picked. Hold on, I said the East, right? Okay, and then I got Duke winning. I got Duke winning the West.
Okay.
And then in the South, I got Tennessee in the South. And then in the Midwest, I picked Auburn in the West.
What about it, Andy?
So I'm gonna go Midwest. I'm gonna go Miami. The South, I'm gonna go Tennessee.
Okay.
Because that Midwest bracket is a little weak. The West, I am going Duke. And out of the East, I'm going to go Kentucky.
Okay.
Oh.
All right, King Dre, what you got?
I'm going to give y'all one of my brackets just because I have like 10. But this is a great one because my Final Four is Arkansas, Kentucky, Michigan, and Providence.
Providence?
Hey, man, I wrote it.
That's a Cinderella story.
Hey, I wrote it nice, man. Listen, hey, I'm going to do y'all like this. Watch this.
Man, where's this dude going, man?
3, 4,
Providence.
That's one. Hold on. I'm gonna give you one more. I got in this other bracket I have UConn, Baylor, Tennessee, and Iowa.
Mm.
Doing
Right,
what?
right. Time out, Drake. This ain't bracket pickers. One bracket that tells who you got. You can't put 6 brackets in there and hopefully you
I
win.
can
One
put out
bracket
the
in who
brackets I
wants in the
want.
final four,
Hey, I
man.
can put up to 25, baby. Hey, listen. I got another bracket that's got UConn, Purdue, Villanova, and Auburn.
This man got 25 brackets. One bracket, King Drake. What you got, man?
Now one of them gonna hit.
Hey, well, if I'm gonna go with if I'm gonna go with the team I think is gonna win, then I'm gonna go with I'm gonna go with my first bracket, which is UConn, Baylor, Tennessee, and Iowa.
Now who you got winning?
I got Tennessee beating UConn.
Not
He ain't
happening.
got no blue bloods in that one. What about it, Greasy?
Get them
What
out.
about it, Greasy? What about it? Who you got?
I don't have my list in front of me, but I gave my
He going for Coach K, man.
my championship game. My
You
championship game.
got Coach K. He
But I
picked
think
Coach.
I had the Hurricanes also in my Final Four.
He got the coach. He got Coach K running that thing all the way with the Cinderella story. So I got Duke of Kentucky, a rematch of the 1992 East Regional Final. Christian Leitner and those boys. I got Kentucky. I got Kentucky pulling it out. I got
Of
Kentucky.
course, you got Kentucky pulling it out.
I got Kentucky coming out the East. I got Duke beating Gonzaga. If you didn't see, if you didn't see Duke versus Gonzaga, I think it was the night after Thanksgiving. You missed a hell of a ball game. I got Duke pulling it off again, taking care of Gonzaga in that bracket. So I got Duke and Kentucky. They're going to meet in one section of the Final Four. I like Arizona. I've been watching Arizona all year. When I can, they come on at 11:30 at night on a
Midnight.
Tuesday and play. Yeah, they play too late at night. But I was really impressed with how they were able to beat UCLA. Now UCLA is a tough team. That's a good team. Jaime Jaquez and some of those guys they got coming back from last year's team. I just don't think I got them going out in the Elite Eight versus Kentucky. And I got Auburn. I got Auburn.
It ain't happening.
I like what they got going on with Jabari Smith. I think he is the best player in college basketball. So I'm going to ride them all the way to the Final Four. With that being said, yeah, my bracket will probably be torn to shreds by Friday at noon. But that's just what I'm going to roll with. And we'll be back next weekend. Look at the Sweet 16 and see how it's going as far as that. But Candy Lynn, it's been a pleasure as always. Like I said, Candy Lynn, pull up the podcast, hit her up on Facebook, pull up the podcast. Good content over there. Been a pleasure rolling with the fellas as well. We discussed Brittney Griner, the situation in Russia. Got Dr. Juice Man, King Dre, Greasy, and Candy Lynn every Friday night, 8 p.m. Anchor Podcast. Spotify, Google, and Apple. Don't forget to hit us up on the YouTube page. Follow, like, subscribe, share all that good stuff. We'll catch y'all next time. It's Just Noise.
God, man.